That's a cool shot right there. Hey. What's up? What do you think? It's good? I like it? Okay. It's kind of very anime-ish, isn't it? So, all right, let's see. What can I do? I'm going to pop this up a little bit. Get you a little... okay. Oh, I forgot I needed to do something here. So, I've got to close that out. No. All right, then. Open it up again. Bam. Okay. So, today is the Mind Scrambler podcast, baby. So we're going to do it. We are doing it. Let's see. Get this microphone fixed where it's a little bit better. Looking at me, yo. There we go. Oh, so many problems. And that's okay. Hey, you guys. How we doing? All right. Hold this up. How's this working? Okay. There we go. I think that's better. Check, 1, 2. Oh, it's not even on right now. Let's see what we can do here. Boom, 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 boom. Mike. Pow. Hello. Are you on now? Well, this is weird. It's Raikou. Hello, Luigi. What's happening, y'all? I'm working here to figure out what's going on with my microphone. My microphone. I don't understand why it is doing what it is doing. Oh, hey, listen, we talked about me getting some more video. These guys, the little icon thingies to do voices with. I'd love to get your opinions on which voices you think most people would like to hear. I'm thinking, like I said, Cled for one, maybe. There, Mike. Yeah, that's what I want there. Got that. Put volume. Output, show volume in menu bar. Input level, solid. Output, nothing right now. Okay, cool. Interesting. Okay, it says my mic is working, but I see nothing there happening. So let me check on something. All right, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Running a check, running a mic check. Everyone, 1, 2, 3, hit it. Okay, I got to turn that down a little bit. There it is. Okay, now it's working. Boom, ba-doom, boom. Schnurgles. Okay. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Yabba dabba dabba shamma lama dagga ding dong. All right, perfect. My microphone is working now, so I'm very happy about this. So the microphone's working. We're ready to do a podcast today. I have another podcast that I released today called Them. Who the hell are they and why the hell are you listening to them? So I think that's a good one. I think you guys are going to like that. Kelsey Gamer, what's up? It hasn't been that long. Ludabundus09. Did you see the latest tweet? I have no idea what you're talking about, Ludabundus. So, let's see who Ludabundus is. What you got going on, Ludabundus? And what latest tweet are you talking about? So, let us know. Please, fill us all in, Big Daddy. Or Mama. I have no idea who you are. But today we are going to do a podcast that is called Leggo My Ego. We're going to talk a lot about the ego. Because the ego can make or break a lot of things in your life. So many of us are so... Well, I'm going to get into it. A lot. Am I still in Australia? Yes, I am. I am live from the Gold Coast. We just booked another month here. We're not going to know if our visas are going to be accepted and extended until probably 2 weeks from now, maybe. And once we know that, we'll be able to make some more plans and figure out what we're doing. But if we get to stay here another 3 months, I'm okay with that. I may have to invest a little bit in some better, better padding, because I've got a studio in the other room, kind of just for voiceover. I use it for auditions, but it's so cramped and it's hard to get in. It's all blankets and pillows and shit. So, when I'm auditioning, that's fine. I can do voiceover gigs in there, no problem, as soon as I book some. But as far as doing a podcast, I like it here in this corner. It's actually good. I can't really do the podcast in there, so the sound is not going to be the best, which I'm not crazy about. But I guess I could always have them remastered if I needed to. But seriously, at this point, just starting out, and the fact that I'm in Australia with my travel mic is, people are going to give me a pass on that. Well, you guys have listened to it. You guys listen to the podcast sometimes. It sounds pretty good on your end, right? It may not be perfect and wonderful and amazing, but it's still pretty good, right? I think so. So I do my best to get in there and I'm kind of hunkered down because of the way things are set up. Maybe I can raise this up a little bit today. Let's turn this over. Let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can ghetto this for a bit. There we go. Look at that. Now this mic is right in my face. Right there. It's right in your face. So what are you going to do? What do you do about that? What do you do about that? Here we go. So I'm going to be like this. I can talk to you guys here and talking to the mic. So, Kelsey Gamer Cool, just need Streamlab, good internet. Yeah, Kelsey, glad you got the laptop. See, my situation with my laptop, the reason why I can't stream from my laptop, I'm doing it from my phone over here. So the actual audio that's going to be going into my podcast is not the audio that's going to be going on to YouTube. That's the interesting part, because now I have to figure all that out, because I found some other podcasts that I had totally forgotten about from Burbank. And so some of those were done on my other mic, which is a Yeti Nano, which is quite nice. Yumi's here. What's up, Yumi? So hey everybody. And it was just like, it's kind of odd how that all worked. But I found them, and now I'm repurposing them, putting them in. So it's like, if you're listening in order, you're going to hear live from Australia, and then you're going to hear me in Burbank. And then you'll hear live from Australia again, because I got to get them out. I got to get them thrown out there. And they're good. I mean, the information is great, guys. This is training. This is understanding. This is teaching. This is not really coaching, but it's going to help when you guys understand. Excuse me. Man, we're getting allergies over here, I think. Let me get rid of that. Don't need that. Hold on. My goodness. Hey, boy. What's up? So I am, let's see. Let me just move this out a little bit more. No, I can't move it that much further. Here you go. I can move this a little bit here. So now you can see me a little bit better. And the mic is right there. You know, it's cool. I was just watching. I just looked at Rob Paulson's one of his Facebook posts, and he has a Yeti. I mean, an Apogee like this that he was using. And I'm like, dude, it's great. Let's see, 150. I didn't pay that much in the U.S. I think I paid like, what did I pay? I don't even remember. But it was, maybe I did. It was worth it though. I needed another one because I've got my sound booth mic is a Bluebird microphone, which is a really nice microphone. And then I have my travel, which is my Apogee, but it's a USB, so you gotta be careful with that. It works for what we're doing now, and I've done a lot of work on this, and I know how to make it work fairly well, because I can kind of judge, what's happening in the podcast there. And let's see, doing it on my YouTube channel, but still need to figure out what I'm talking about. Well, just get on there and talk. I mean, this is what I'm doing. I free flow everything that I'm telling you guys. I've got a lot of training and a lot of years of speaking, so I still need to work on my ums and the working on that. because I'm thinking as I'm talking to you. So it's not 100%. It's not like, here's a structured talk, and I'm going to talk very professionally with you so that you can understand every word that I am saying, and I'm delivering it pinpoint accurately. That sort of thing. No, I'm not doing that. It's just a stream of consciousness. I've got some notes that I kind of follow, but I want to share some things, because right now I think the ego is a big topic that needs to be addressed. Because the ego is getting in a lot of people's way. And you see it every day on social media. Let me put that ego there. Let me put this here. I'm going to put this right here as well. Social media posts. Okay. I've been trying to figure out a word for, it's like, I don't know, quasi-righteous bullies or something like that. I was going to call it virtue bullying, but that's kind of been taken as something else. This is more like, it really is kind of like a self-righteous bullying, and it's almost bordering on, it's not cowardly, it's one of the safest things you can possibly do, by telling somebody, if you don't think the way I think, then you just get off of my thing, or I'll unfriend you, or you can just fuck off, whatever. I'm like, really? Is that opening dialogue? Is that saying, hey, you know what, maybe people are being told completely different things from you, which they are. And, you see one thing this way, and then you see the other thing the other way. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. But your ego won't let you be wrong. And I'm going to go over that a little bit here, because the ego wants to fight back. And that's I find that interesting. And I think you guys are going to get some help out of this. Like, you're going to enjoy it. What else can I tell you guys? This is where I'm going. Shomoshako! What's up? You're not late. The podcast starts in about 3 minutes. So I'm going to be chatting or chitting. And I've got my incense over here, so you might see a little smoke waft up. I'm going to zen like a mofo today. I'm in with the zen. I want to say some good stuff today. And I'm just saying, you know what? I'm going to say exactly what needs to be said. I'm going to say I might not want to knock my microphone off. That's not good. Okay. Oh boy. Let's try that again. This son of a gun. Here we go. All right. Now where were we? As long as that's cool there. As long as it doesn't conk out of me in the mid-thing. I need to get a... Hold on a second. I'm not sure this is going to work, but if I can tighten this up a little bit, it's not going to work. I need a smaller freaking screwdriver. Megan, the ginger beast. What's up, Megan? Thanks for popping in. I'm about to start my podcast. Give me a second. I'll be right back. You know what? I don't have to go anywhere. All right. So my podcast starts in about 1 minute. Megan, if you are new, thank you so much for following me. I appreciate that. Ava Boy followed me 2 days ago. Love it, love it, love it. And Ava Boy's in the house, I think. So for those of you that don't know, I don't know if any of my mods are on here. So here's what I would like to do. I need to let you all know, and I'm asking your help. Once I start my podcast, I cannot stop. I don't stop, and I keep going. Getting a snow ice USB microphone. Oh, it's coming. You already got it. I am not a fan of the snowball. Sorry, it's Raikou. I'm not. But here's the deal. I'm not going to be able to talk to you for 30 minutes because I'm going straight through with the podcast. And once I'm done with the podcast, then I come back on the end and I'll say, howdy do. So if you can, if anybody comes on and says, hey, why is he not talking to me? Why is he ignoring me? Yabba dabba dabba. Then if you guys could say, hey, he's doing a podcast. He'll be with you in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because I will go for 30 minutes. So basically at 12:45, we're ready to go. Okay, let's make this happen. I am going to click on my notes. We're going to talk about this today. All right, we have started the Audacity check, 1 2 1 2. Hey everybody, I'm gonna turn this down just a hair. I need to turn it down a little bit more because I do tend to get animated. Okay, a little less. Check, 1 2 1 2. Okay, ha ha ha. Great. It's still a little low. Let's put it up a little bit more. See, it's hard to figure this out. There we go. A little more. Check, 1 2. Perfect. That is where we want to be. All right, everybody. Are you ready? I am. Here we go. Hey there, welcome to my podcast. This is the Mind Scrambler Podcast. I am Spike Spencer, and you are in the right place. Thanks so much for showing up. Today, we are going to talk about the ego. So I'm calling this one Leggo My Ego. For those of you that understand the reference, obviously that is a reference to the old Leggo My Ego TV commercials many years ago. I'm old. I remember things like that. I remember when Mikey liked it. Anyway, that's going to be really weird if you have no context whatsoever. So, let's get started. Welcome to the podcast, and let's talk about the ego. Oh my goodness, who all has an ego? Hands, raising hands. I'm raising my hand. Why am I going to tell you so much about the ego today? Because I have done so much work to get past my own ego. And yes, I have a very healthy ego, and I have had to get it out of my way for so many things. It's so incredible for relationships when you're able to understand and address the issues of your ego and move forward from there. And you can enhance your relationships in business, love, and life. So let's talk about it a little bit. First off, we know from Freud, the German psychiatrist, psychoanalyst, psychobabble guy who was basically totally locked up on crack. Yes, he was high on cocaine a lot of the time. But he came up with the id, the ego, and the superego. So if you know, the id is our basest instincts, and the ego is in the middle. It's our conscious mind sort of thing. And then the superego is the angel on our shoulder, the one we want to be, the person we strive to be, the person we think we can be. The problem is, we'll never be able to meet that because it's an ever-moving target, so therefore it causes guilt on the ego. And the ego is also fighting the id, the urges, the basest urges for sex and food and all that. So the ego has a lot going on without us tacking more crap onto it. So what's going on right now in the world? It is, it is June 16th, 2020. So for historical reference, we are still in the middle of a pandemic that is the weirdest damn thing I have ever seen. Because on one hand, we've got this pandemic and everyone's cowering in fear. On the other hand, we have a lot of information, actual information, that will let you know it's not really to be feared that much. It is to be respected and concerned about, certainly. But the fear and closing down the world and destroying economies, not so much. Do your own research, you will find that is the case. And we're learning more and more every day. However, in the midst of all this, we have some racial strife, and suddenly, in the middle of a pandemic, tens of thousands of people take to the streets and are shoulder to shoulder. They may be wearing masks, but so what? You're shoulder to shoulder. You're touching other people. You are basically in a freaking rave, right? And I'm not talking about the political viability of it or whether it's needed or not needed or any of that. I'm just talking about the actual facts. In the middle of a pandemic, everyone is right next to each other, and this has been going on for weeks. And the most bizarre part of this is in some places where that's happening, they're not getting any spikes in COVID cases, etc. And on the socials, people are totally ignoring this fact that there are tens of thousands of people shoulder to shoulder, and committing atrocities in many cases, and they're thinking they're actually concerned and in fear that businesses are opening up again slowly, or the beaches or parks are opening up. That's their concern, not the tens of thousands of people shoulder to shoulder spreading this like wildfire. No, it's the businesses opening up. And that's bizarre to me. Maybe you see something different. Always happy for you to check that out for yourself. But I watch these things with an interested eye, because I'm like, why did somebody do that? Why does somebody say the things they say? Why do people react at certain things? Why are people getting triggered? What is a trigger? Well, trigger is just a reaction. I think I've done another podcast on that, but I'm sure I'll cover that again sometime down the road. It's an ongoing aspect of the ego. When we get triggered, we get put into victim status right away, and we are reacting to something. So, and many times that's really the id reacting to that. But the ego is in there too, and sometimes the ego has to fight for everything that it has done, everything that the life has lived, everything that has happened, every experience to you, everything that you were ever taught goes into your ego. So why am I talking about all of this to get back to the ego? Well, look at social media. Now, this is the easiest thing to see, is right now, or anytime there's any political strife, people suddenly become A, an expert on everything, but B, their opinion has to be out there. Informed or not, that opinion has got to be out there, and then it's got to be fought for. Because, well, I have to be right. It's my opinion based on all of the things that I know, therefore it must be right. So when you see social posts, and why everybody's arguing is because everybody feels the same way. Their ego has to make them right. Even if they're wrong, completely, patently, absurdly wrong. Their ego will not let them do that. So we're going to talk about how to get past that ego today and why that is happening. Let me take a quick drink of water and we will continue. That is some fine, tasty filtered water. Thank you, technology. All right. The ego, when somebody is attacking you on the socials, let's say, it's not even attacking you on the socials, somebody does a post. For example, there are a lot of people in the personal growth and self-help world who are posting things now. And a lot of them are getting attacked like you wouldn't believe. I get attacked every now and then if I do anything that's moderately challenging to people. For example, I posted numerous times that Tony Robbins did an interview. He did a podcast and interviewed several doctors, many, I think 6 or 7 doctors and a Nobel Prize winner. These are people on the front lines. And they give you actual facts. And I have posted this, and I've told everybody about it, everybody on my podcast, everybody everywhere. I'm like, hey, you must listen to this. It is full of facts. And it's amazing. Once you learn that, it's like, wow, okay, I see this from a totally different light. It's not political. It's not agenda-driven. It's like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we know. And when you come to somebody and you share that with them, they're like, oh, really? Tony Robbins? I actually had somebody go say that. Tony Robbins, really? And I'm like, yeah, you mean the most successful coach on the planet who actually coaches presidents, leaders of industry, leaders of countries, etc.? Yes, you might want to listen to the podcast. See, that's the narrow-mindedness that you see from so many people on the socials. It takes no time at all to find these type of people. They are ignorant, they are uninformed, yet they are ready to fight for that ignorance. They are ready to fight to the death. It's insane when you look at it. If you have another viewpoint, they're going to attack that. Why? Because their ego is now involved. When the ego is involved, Excuse me, I think I'm coming down with a little bit of a allergy or something out here. When the ego is involved, it has to be protected. Because if the ego is not right, then it's not just that you're not right about that one particular thing. It goes all the way back to your beginning, to the very basis and foundation of your experience, your thought, your teachings, your morality, your mission statement. It is at your soul's core if your ego is in play. And that is why people are fighting tooth and nail on even learning new information. If you give them new information, they'll already push back against it because they already have all the information they need. Even though there's new information coming out daily, they've got the information. And I've talked about this more in depth and detail on another podcast I'm releasing soon called Damn It, Don't Give Me Facts, My Mind's Already Made Up. But it's the ego that's getting hit. We talk a little bit about it in there, but I'm going to show you how to get past that ego. Because the ego can be very arrogant and misleading. And when your ego is arrogant and misleading, it is not doing you any favors. Not doing any favors at all. So the first thing that I would say to you, if you're dealing with ego, if you are angered and triggered, think first right off the bat, is this my ego? Do I feel like my ego is being attacked? Do I feel like my core beliefs are being attacked? That's a great question to ask yourself, because if you listen to your subconscious, it's going to give you the answer. The subconscious has every answer you need. It knows everything that has ever happened to you from birth and before. We're finding out now that that we have cognizance of generations past. And this is not like past live stuff, but yes it is, because science is starting to let us know that we do have that capability because DNA, we have memories. Have you ever attacked somebody? Maybe not physically, but you say something that comes out of your mouth and you're just like, where did that come from? That's something buried deep down. And then once you do that, your ego has to fight for it. You ever done that where you say something ridiculous and then you go, oh my God, you got to backpedal. You got to figure out why did I say that? What did I do? But you've got to make yourself right. You have to rationalize. For example, the first thing that's going to happen in a relationship when it starts to break apart, especially if there's cheating. I'll give you a prime example. My first marriage fell apart because my wife had an affair with my best friend. Some of you know the whole story, but the bottom line is, what happens from there? Once it's discovered and people are saying, hey, you did this. And then it's like, well, yeah, I did it because of you. Remember, you can't be wrong. The ego won't allow you to be wrong. So you have to start rationalizing, and then you start to attack, even though you know you're in the wrong. And it doesn't make any sense. So if you've done this, if you started to fight back over something, you need to ask yourself, is it my ego that's causing me to fight back? Is it my ego that's telling me I'm right even when, what if I'm not right? And that's the other thing I say, and I've said this in a couple of podcasts and a couple of different articles that I've written. And I'll say it again, over and over again, as many more people can do it, the better. Always ask yourself, whenever you start to feel this way, what if I'm wrong? I just did this to myself today. I found myself being kind of charged emotionally about some issue. I'm not going to say what it was, but I'm like, well, this is just freaking stupid. What the hell? And I said, wait a minute, what if I'm wrong? I don't think I'm wrong, but I'm open to being wrong. Now this comes into confirmation bias that a lot of people have. It's like, I am right, and now I'm going to let everybody know how right I am because I'm going to find all this information that backs up my point and no information that backs up somebody else's point. I mean, this takes a lot of work, guys. Fighting the ego takes work. That's why most people don't do it. Overcoming your ego takes work. And it's an ongoing practice. And the more you do it, the lighter you become. Because if your ego is out of it, you can see things from other people's point of view. And understand this. You don't have to be right. You don't have to be right. You know, I have so many things in my life that have gone wrong, that you would say horrible mistakes or failures, problems, challenges, etc., where I was wrong, or not even wrong, it's just things didn't work out. Did my ego take a hit? Oh my God. I'm in the middle of something right now. My ego's taken the biggest hit it has ever taken in my lifetime. I mean, if you think a freaking divorce and a bankruptcy is not a hit, and your spouse going with your best friend and you losing everything, that's quite a hit to the ego, and that took some years to come back from, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. That is very hard, and it took ongoing work because I had to build up my ego as well. But you have to do it, and you have to build up your ego in a positive way. So if you find yourself being triggered or being drawn into battles, remember your ego has been programmed to fight. Your ego has been programmed from everything that has happened to you in your lifetime and possibly other people's lifetimes and your family, your generations, that is in your DNA. So there are other things to overcome. And the more you wrap your head around this, your conscious, your ego is in a battle with your subconscious. So if you're fighting that, once you can open up your mind and ask the question, what if I'm wrong? So you know what? I don't have to be right. Let's check this out. Let's have a discussion. You can even, like I tell people, give your subconscious an identity. Give it a name and say, hey, listen, we need to have a chat. I'm feeling funky about this, and I don't know why. Can you tell me why? Be open to that, and let your subconscious tell you. It'll tell you. There are ways, there are tools. I'll go over those some other time down the road. But just asking the question opens up a whole new dialogue internally for yourself, which can help you get past the ego and say, hey, you know what, ego? Why don't you sit down for a second? Is your ego being right worth losing friends? Is being right worth tanking businesses? Is being right worth destroying a marriage? You have to ask yourself that, because if your ego is in the way, then yeah, you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have a chat deep down and figure out what it is. And understand, if you are seeing things in other people, this is a perception is projection type. This is from neurolinguistic programming, and it's fairly well known. If you see it in someone else, you have it. I say, if you see it, you be it. And it's in the Bible. You know, why point out the splinter in somebody else's eye when you've got a 2x4 in yours, basically? If you see it in somebody else, then what you're trying to do is point out their flaws to mask your own insecurity. And see, and I know some of the people listening right now, if you say, I'm not insecure, there's your first test. If you suddenly pop back and say, whoa, hey, I'm not insecure, great, then maybe you are, right off the bat. You have to think about that, because when somebody says you're insecure, I'm like, well, let me think about that. Maybe, what if I am? What if I am wrong and I am insecure? What if? When you ask the what if, you open up dialogue. That is important. Ask that what if and move forward. Because if you're not asking that question, and other people are triggering you, or other people are making you want to battle, and they've already won. They've got your emotion. This is what the mainstream media does. They work on your emotion to get you scared, to get you angry or whatever it is, to get you to react, but more than anything, to get you to watch, to keep watching and keep you activated. If it can keep you activated, you are at victim status. You are not in charge of your own life. You are at the whim of other people, and you can't be that. You cannot be at the whim of other people. So, the best way to get over that, to get over being the victim, is to take ownership of yourself. Take ownership of your ego. Surrender that need for control. You don't have to control everything. You can't control everything. Control is an illusion anyway. And if your ego is telling you that you actually have any control, guess what? You don't. Did you know anything about COVID or everything closing down, or maybe there's a fire that knocks something out, your computer dies on you? Did you have any control over any of that? You did not. So if you can let the ego slide for a second, say, hey, you know what? I am not maybe the most all-powerful being. Maybe I can have a little humility and say, wow, you know what? If I go with the flow and I don't react, but I do make my decisions as things are moving, then I'm more flexible, which means I have more power, which, hey, guess what? That can feed the ego in a healthy way. How about that? Pretty cool, I think. By actually letting go, you're getting more power inside of you. Another thing to think about is the ego is being bombarded by other people daily. You see somebody saying something and you go, God, that's so stupid. Is it? Ask the question. And you might want to forgive other people and yourself. Think about this. When people talk about the ego, it's like, you get a humility, etc., etc. How often do they talk about forgiveness? And I'm talking about the forgiveness for yourself more than anything else, because the forgiveness for yourself lets you off the hook. It lets you know, hey, you know what? You're okay. You are all right, and you're going to be fine. And forgiving other people, that plays to your power as well. And I've dealt with this a lot. I'll talk about forgiveness in another podcast sometime when we really go into it, because I have my issues with forgiveness. Letting go is one thing. Forgiving is one thing. Forgetting is a complete other thing. I have a quote I'm working on. I was thinking, I don't know if I should say this or not, but you know what? I kind of think it's funny. But hold. Okay. I have a quote that I want to I'm coming up with a funny quote. You guys know I have funny quotes for things that I say. It's like, to err is human, to forgive is divine, to forget could be Alzheimer's. You might want to check that. All right. So anyway, if you think it's funny, great. If you don't, well, fine. That's you. I just triggered you. Take that, you. Now, work on your ego. When you forgive yourself and others, and you actively forgive, it is letting go. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So it is, like I said, it's an ongoing process. If you can surrender the need for control, understand that other people are getting other information that you may not. Everyone has their filters, and they're going to say everything through their filters. So anytime you see people, go to Twitter, just scroll through Twitter, and everybody is 100% right, and everybody else is 100% idiot, or whatever. And that's not the fact, guys. That's not the truth of it, because you don't know what someone else has been told. You don't know what they're reacting from. You don't know all the things that have happened in their life. So if you can have some empathy, sympathy, emotional intelligence, EQ, that will go a long, long way toward getting your ego out of the way. Think about it. If somebody is telling you you're wrong, then they're not just telling you you're wrong on that one thing. It's like your ego wants to say, oh, this is everything I've ever been taught is wrong. It goes right, like I said, right down to your soul core. And if that is wrong, then your life has been wasted. Pretty deep. For somebody saying, I don't know, I like blue. The dress is blue. The dress is whatever. Something really, really stupid and light. If you'll watch the arguments, they get deeper and deeper and deeper as people get more and more combative. Why? Because they can't be wrong. And if you can't be wrong, you're going to be put in a corner. And nobody puts baby in the corner. Yeah, I had to go there. You got it. You can't be put in the corner. So therefore, you must fight back. Now think about it this way, from the Aikido standpoint. If somebody says something about you're wrong, and you go, well, let me take a look at it from your standpoint. See, Aikido is a martial art that uses somebody's weight and momentum against them. So instead of coming up and blocking and hitting heads and locking horns, you turn and you shift and you let their energy go past you. As my instructor used to say, well, let me take a look at it from your point of view. And then let me show you why that wasn't a very good idea. Bam, and you drop them on the floor. But the whole concept of that is let your ego slide for a second, turn, look at the way someone else is reacting. Look at what they're saying. Ask yourself, why are they saying that? Ask them. Say, I actually want to connect with you. Why are you saying this? Or what specifically brings you to this conclusion? You ask them that, and you ask yourself the same thing. If you are getting triggered or you're getting upset, what specifically is making me fight back against this particular whatever? What specifically is bringing up these emotions that are causing me distress? Because when your ego is fighting back at you, it's causing this tension. It causes tension in your back. It causes tension in your jaw, in your head, in your eyes, in your body, in your sphincter, wherever. It's causing tension, and that tension is not needed. The tension keeps you in fight or flight mode, which is the id, and you're like, okay, let's go, let's fight, let's run, let's do whatever we got to do, but let's do it. I may be wrong. The fight or flight, no, it's got to be the id, because it can't be the ego. I don't know. You guys look that up. But my point is, if you are in fight or flight, you're not thinking. You've never made good decisions when you're angry, when you're upset, when you're depressed or whatever. When you're in a very, very solid, relaxed, open state is when you make your best decisions. That's also when your creativity is at its highest. Like when you're dealing with a problem and you're so focused on the problem, you cannot fix that problem from within the problem. You have to get away from it. So you go take a walk on the beach, you take a warm shower or a hot bath, or you go do something you really enjoy to do. And in the middle of that, suddenly, bing, hey, there's the answer. It's because you were able to relax and be open. Get your ego out of the way and say, all right, I am open. I am open to being wrong. I am open to being swayed. I am open to other information. I am open. And one last thing I want to leave you with. You also can be in gratitude. People will talk about being grateful and being in gratitude, and they kind of leave it at that. Be grateful. See ya. Well, okay, what does that mean? Gratitude. If you're going to be in gratitude, it means you are going to be thankful for everything, not just only the things that go your way, even some of the bad things. I am thankful that my first marriage ended the way it did, because I became a much better person, a much stronger person, and I attracted one of the most amazing women on this planet, who is tearing it up, guys. She is incredible, gorgeous, and amazing, and gave me an incredible son. So I am grateful for the challenges. Did it beat my ego down? Yes. Is my ego getting beaten on a daily basis? Yes. Yours will too. But if you make friends with it and you say, oh, it's trying to teach me something. What is it trying to teach me? Ask yourself that. You will get answers. Sometimes it takes longer for those answers to come, I know, but the answers will come. So to round it up, a couple of takeaways, a couple of things I want to hit on. Remember, your ego can be stopping you because you're afraid that if you let your ego go, it's not just saying, oh, I'm wrong in this instance. It's going down to your very core values. You have to let that go. You have to forgive yourself and be open to the idea that maybe you are wrong, or you're open to new information that may change where you are and what you think at this moment in time. If you are not open to that, then you will not be open to any other new information. You will not be open to progress and personal growth because your ego will fight for where it is. This is my patch of land and that is it. I'm going to fight to the death for this. When there's beautiful land all around, all you have to do is get off your land and go look at it and check it out. So, forgiving yourself for some of the past mistakes, giving yourself some grace. Because remember, you made those decisions with all the information that you had based on the time of where you were. I have a whole other podcast on that. It's like my second or third podcast. It's called Hindsight Isn't 2020. Hindsight is kind of a dick. Talks all about that. So you forgive yourself, forgive others, and just ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? Let's find out. Because if you look at those scenarios, your life will expand, your opportunities will expand, and your health will get so much better because you will no longer be swayed and triggered by other people's opinions and other people's ideas and values, etc., etc. You can go, look at that. I wonder what makes them do that, rather than, I can't believe they did that, son of a gun. That sort of thing. You don't want that. That's what I'm going to leave you with today, guys. Let that ego go, go, go. Leggo my ego. And have yourself a wonderful day. I wish you personal growth, peace, love, and I will see you on the next Mind Scrambler podcast. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Had to let it have a little bit of lag time there at the end. So let me save this. Export as MP3. La da 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 da. All right. So what do you guys think? MS Leggo My Ego. Boom. All right. See you, Ashley. Bye. Wow, incredible podcast. Thank you, Luigi. I appreciate that. Luigi and anybody else who has listened to the podcast, please, guys, go to my podcast. Let me give you the... Hold, please. I will give you this in one moment. I'm going to give you the link. Please go and give me some love over there. Give me a review. Say, oh my God, this guy is so incredible. I mean, he makes so much sense. And he does these weird voices that are super cool, too. I mean, gosh. Oh. Come on. There we go. I'm putting it in right now into the chat. Bam, go. There you go. Go, 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 go. Yeah, it's in iTunes. That'll take you right there. That should take you right to the main one. Glad you guys liked it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great. All right. So, that being said, check on your ego, guys. Check on your ego. We all have them. We all, some people say, oh, I've got a pretty healthy ego. Well, yeah. I'll be the first person to say, it's like, I have a pretty healthy ego. I like feeding my ego. I love getting in front of crowds of thousands and acting all cool and having fun, because that's in my zone of genius. I like doing that, and I know I can help people. I know I can motivate, I can move, I can share ideas and inspire people. And cheerlead. I was a freaking cheerleader, okay? So that is part of my ego. But I can also, hey, I can get high on my own supply and say, wow, I'm such a great guy. I don't need to learn anything else. Well, that's stupid. That's your ego stopping you. It's like, well, I'm at the top of the game. I don't need to learn anything else. I always need to learn something. I'm always learning. I'm always looking at other ways to improve myself in various, places. I do trainings all the time. I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's the next? Who's marketing this? Who's doing that? I did some research today before I came on this. I was looking at Carl Jung and of course Freud's, and Jung is high in utilized a lot in neurolinguistic programming, which I'm a coach. But there's so many things, like we only retain like 10% of what we read, and I work on doing more. But so in order to get everything from a book, you need to read it 10 times. You're going to find new stuff every time, and the old stuff will be reinforced, and the new stuff will help you along the journey. So that's what I'm talking about today, is that ego. The ego, we can stop fighting each other so much if you just let your ego out of the way. That confirmation bias, I didn't talk about the reticular activating system. I've gone into that so many times. But if anybody's just watching this one, it's like you're going to see what you want to see. And if your ego is like, well, this is what's happening, and you're not open to see other things, then that's all you're going to see is what you think is happening. I think everybody's, looking at the protests, for example. The protests, people are being told different things from different places, right? I know for a fact that a lot of the protests are very nonviolent, and that the people who are screwing up everything are coming in later at night, driving into, I have eyes on friends that I know who live in LA, where I'm from, and they're telling me I'm right here right now, and I'm watching people drive up, get out of their cars, and go and start looting. And most of them are white. And I'm like, damn. Now, that's LA. I don't know. Could be different in Kansas City. It could be different in Florida. I don't know. But my point is, I'm open to this. I'm not looking at the news and saying, well, that's what's happening. I'm skeptical as hell. I don't believe anything the news tells me, because I know how it works, and it's crap. If the news is telling you, it's probably crap. So get eyes on, get people that find somebody on Twitter or Twitch or Facebook or something, somebody that is like, hey, who do we know that's over there? Who do we know that is there right now that we can talk to? Who do we know? Let's get them on the horn. Let's get them, type what's going on, what's happening. Be skeptical. Don't let your ego get in the way. Because your ego's like, I got this. This is how it's going to be. That's it, man. Hey, I got it. Bah. No. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, now's the time. I'm here to chat with you guys and answer your questions. So, I think somebody had a question earlier when I was... Uh-oh. Let me back in there. Somebody had asked me something... Talk about maturity. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, Shomoshaku, if you're still here, everything that I talked about takes a lot of maturity. Understanding this ego situation, understanding how to work with the tools that I talk about in my Mind Scramble podcast, it all takes maturity. It takes maturity for me to deal with my wife and my son. And when I do something wrong, I go, oh gosh, you know what? I screwed that up. I apologize right off the bat. I should do a podcast on that. Apologies. Do it once. Do it fast. Do it once. Mean it. Oh, I like that. I'm going to write that down. Apologies. Do it fast. Do it once. Mean it. Do it fast. Do it once. Mean it. I like it. There you go. So I've got a new podcast right there. I could work on that one. I mean, there's a lot that goes into apologies. But again, what do we hit with apologies? Ego. Got to get out of the ego. The ego is so huge in our lives, guys. The ego is everything. It'll mess with you. You know, the ego gets us into trouble. It really, really does. And I think that's the problem with that. If it gets you into trouble, you got to get out of trouble. You got to get out of it. And like I said, if you're in trouble, you don't want to be proven wrong. In some cases, you don't want to go to jail. But, you know, the truth is always going to set you free one way or the other. It really is. I've seen it happen over and over again. And it's you know, some people say, I ain't never going to tell the truth or I'll be in jail. Well, maybe you should be in jail, number one. But sometimes, you know, people make mistakes. And maybe by not being in jail, they are able to help thousands of people, you know, because they feel guilty, et cetera, you know, because their ego may have said, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to say this one thing, but maybe that ego also says, you know what, you were wrong, you need to make amends. I don't know. You can go over this all the time. You know, how is it that people can do so many terrible, terrible things and then repent and change and become different people? Say, that was me then. I'm not that person anymore. Why? Because they grew. And usually, by growing, that ego has to get out of the way. Ego will not let you grow. Ego slow. Ego slow. Ego. I don't know. I'm just babbling. It has been a busy day. Had a lot of tech issues. I have gotten podcasts up. I've done some writing. Today I'm putting out I've got a blog. If you want to go to my website, spikespencer.com/blog, I have right now it's a 5-piece story of being dad on Netflix. Some of you have seen it already. It's about kind of behind the scenes of being on that show. And there's some pictures and some interesting stuff from the shoots. And just some revelations I've had, and tell you the stories of what happened and a little bit about reality shows, etc. So it might be interesting. I'm going to do it as a 6-part series. So I'm going to release one every day to Father's Day. Perfect. How about that? Isn't that amazing? So, all right, guys, if no one has any more questions, any last question, you've got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And by the time this lag gets there, it might be 1 minute. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and we will talk about it for a minute. Other than that, I wish you wonderful, wonderful days, nights, lives, health, personal growth, everything. I wish you all the best in all things. And I will be working on those voice avatar bit things, whatever. I'm going to reach out. I got a guy. I'm going to get that guy to give me 5. Say, hey, guy, give me 5. I need 5 of those. 5. And then I'll pop them up and they'll be ready to go. And that way, you can click on it, and suddenly I'll start talking like this. Hey, Luigi, why I oughta. Hey, Erendos gives hugs to anyone who would like one. Well, thank you, Erendos. Erendos. We love hugs. Appreciate that. Erendos, you're not following me. Follow me, baby. Let me see you follow me right now. Follow me. Pow! All right, Ava Boy. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate it, guys. That is awesome. I'm just so glad you guys are here. I think streaming. I was streaming and playing any video games when you go back down. You know, I don't. You're following me already, Erindos? I don't see you down there. I figure I hadn't seen you before. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you were following me. Sweet. You know, I would love to play video games. The thing is, I don't play video games. And the only way I could play video games, I couldn't do it. Oh, wow. You've been around, baby. Well, thanks so much for sticking around and staying here and telling all your friends and all that. Guys, everybody, tell your friends. I try to be here every day at the same time. But you know where I am. Yeah, I'm thinking about streaming and playing video games, but I need a new computer. My computer back home went kaput. I don't know if I'm going to salvage any of the data from it, but I can't use it. And it's not, oh, you were in Lobros. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Lobro's doing great, man. I love him. Yeah, so I want to do that, but I don't know how to do that because I'm doing this off of my phone. That's the only way I can stream to you guys because I can't do it on my computer. My computer will go kaput, and because the CPU, it will fry it, and everything will stall. So I've got to get a new laptop while I'm down here to be able to do the things I need to do. If I can ever do the. Oh, Irendos, you're not the only one that's brought up the famous Shinji rant. I get it all the time. But yeah, so anyway, bottom line, I need a better computer, and I need to do that back when I go back home. So I may do that, but I'm going to have to get a whole lot more people watching me on Twitch before I can do that. Because I'm getting like 6, maybe 10 people at a time, and that ain't gonna fix it. That's not gonna work. So if you guys can get the word out for people, that would be amazing. Here, just take this link right here, twitch.tv/ speaks, boom, boom, boom. There you go. Hit it. There's my thing. Copy, paste, share. Tell everybody. This is the place to be. And I do it, like I said, I do it. Right now I'm doing it every weekday in Australia, Monday through Friday at noon to 1. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe I'm going to be doing my podcast. So today was a podcast. Thursday will be another podcast. And then we'll talk about it from there. So I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you guys learned a little something. Maybe take some notes. And I hope I was clear and it worked well. And you use it. Use it. All right, guys. I'll see you later. I'm out of here. I got things to do. Cheers.